हेलो भी तो आज हम लोग कर रहे हैं क्लास 9th का इकोनॉमिक्स का चैप्टर 3 पॉवर्टी एज अ चैलेंज सो स्टार्ट in introduction. In our daily life we come across many people who we think are poor. They could be landless laborers in a village or a people living in a overcrowded juggies in the cities. They could be daily wages worker at the construction site or children worker in the dhavas. They could also be a beggar with the children's in tatters. We see poverty all around us. In fact, every four person in India is poor. This means roughly 217 million or 227 crores people in India live in poverty. 2011 to 2012 census. This is also mean that the India has a large single concentration of the poor in the world. This illustrate and the seriousness of the challenge. Stud- Two typical cases of poverty. Arun case: 30-year-old Ramsaran worked as a daily wage worker laborers in a wheat flour mill near Ranchi in Jharkhand. He managed to earn around 1,500 rupees a month. When he find employment, which is not often, the money is not enough to sustain his family of six that included his wife and four children aged between 12 years to 6 months. He has to send money home as to his old parents who live in the village near Ramgarh. His father are landless laborers depend on the Ram Saran and his brother who lives in Hazari Bagh for sustenance. Ram Saran lives in a one room rented house in a crowded vasti in the outskirts of the city. It's a temporary shack built of bricks and the clay tiles. His wife Santi Devi worked as a part-time maid in the few houses, managed to earn rupees 18 and 800. They manage meagre meal of dal and rice twice a day, but never enough for all of them. His elder son worked as a helper in the tea shop of the supplement. The family income is another 300 while his 10-year-old daughter takes care of younger sibling. None of the children go to the school. They have only two pair of hand me down cloth. Each new one are bought only when the old cloth because unwearable shoes are a luxury. The young kids are undernourished. They have no access to healthcare when they fell ill. Lakha Singh belongs to a small village near Meerut in Uttar Pradesh. His family doesn't only own any land, so they do odd jobs for the big farmers. Work is erratic, and so is income. At times, they get paid 550 rupees for a hard day work, but often in kind a few kilograms of wheat or dal or even vegetables for trolling in the farm through the day, and the family of the eight cannot always manage to square meals a day. Lakha lives in a kacha hut on the outskirts of the village. The women of the family spend the day chopping fodder and the collecting firewood in the field. His father, a TB patient, passed away 2 years ago due to lack of medicines. His mother now suffers from the same disease. And life is slowly ebbing away. Diseases and life is slowly ebbing away. Although the village has a primary school, Lakha never went to there. He had started earning when he was 10 year old. Now new clothes happen once in a few years. Every even soap and oil are luxury for the family. Study about the case of the poverty and discuss the following issues related to landlessness, unemployment, size of the family, illiteracy, poor health, malnutrition, children's labor, helplessness. The two these two cases illustrated many dimensions of the poverty. They show that the poverty means hunger and the lack of the shelter. It is also a situation in which parents are not able to send their children to school, or the situation where sick people cannot afford the treatment. Poverty also mean lack of cleaning, water and sanitation facilities. It is also mean lack of the regular jobs at the minimum decent level. Above all, it means living with a sense of helplessness homelessness. Poor people are in the situation in which they are ill treated all at almost every place, in the farm, factory, government offices, hospital, railway station, etc. Obviously, nobody would like to live poverty. One of the biggest challenge of the independent India has been to bring millions of its people out of abject poverty. Mahatma Gandhi always insisted that India would be truly independent only when the poorest of its people become free of the human suffering. Poverty, as seen by the social scientists, since poverty has many facets, also scientists took as it through a variety of indicators. Usually, the indicators used are related to the level of the income and the consumption, but now poverty is looked through the social indicators like illiteracy level, lack of the gender resistance due to the malnutrition, lack of the access of the healthcare, lack of the job opportunities, lack of the access to safe drinking water, sanitation, etc. Analysis of the poverty based on the social exclusion and the vulnerability is now becoming very common. See works. Social exclusion. According to this concept, poverty must be seen in the terms of the poor having to live only in a poor surrounding with the other poor people, excluding from the enjoying social equality to better of people in the better surrounding. Social exclusion can be both a cause as well as the consequence of the poverty. In the user sense, broadly, it is the process through which individual or group are the excluded from the facilities beneficial and the benefits and opportunities that other there better enjoy. A typical example of working of a caste system in India, in which people belonging to the certain castes are excluded from the equal opportunity. Social exclusion thus may lead to the but can cause more damage than the having very low income. Vulnerability to poverty is a measure which describe the greater probability to of certain communities, say members of the backward caste of individual such as a widow or the physical handicap person of the becoming a or remaining poor in the coming years. Vulnerability is determined by the opinion available to the different communities for finding an alternative living in a term of asset, education, health, and job opportunities. Further, it is analysis on the basis of the greater risk these groups are faced at a time natural disaster, earthquake, tsunami, terrorism, etc. Additional analysis is made of their social and the economic ability to handle these risks. In fact, vulnerability describe the greater probability of being more adversely affected than other men who, when bad times come for everybody, whether a flood or earthquake or simply a fall of availability job. Poverty line at the center of the discussion on the poverty is usually the concept of the poverty line. A common method used to measure the poverty is based on the income or consumption level. A person is considered poor if his or her income or consumption level fall below a given minimum level necessary to fulfill the basic need. What is necessary to satisfy the basic need is different at the different times in a country. Therefore, Therefore, poverty line may be vary from with the time and place. Each country use an imaginary line that the consider appropriate for its existing level of development and it accepted minimum social norms. For example, a person not having a car in the United Nations may be considered poor. In India, owning a car is still considered a luxury. While determining the poverty line in India, a minimum level of the food requirement, clothing, foodwares, fuels and light, educational and medical requirement, etc. are determined for the substances. These practical quantities are multiplied by their prices in India. The present formula for the food quantify requirement, while the estimating the poverty line in the is based on the desired calorie requirement. Food items such as cereals, pulses, vegetables, milk, sugar, etc. together provided these needed calories. The calories need are very dependent on the age, sex, and the type of the work that person doers. The accepted average calorie requirement in India is 2,400 calories per person per day in rural areas and 2,100 calories per person per day in urban areas. Since people living in the rural areas engaging themselves in a more physical work, calories requirement in the rural areas are the considered to be higher than the in urban areas. The monetary expenditure per capita needed for buying these calories requirement in term of the food grains etc is revised periodically taking into the consideration the rise in the prices on the basis of this calculation for the year 2011 to 2012. The poverty line for the person was fixed as a 816 per month for a rural areas, and the rupee 1000 for urban areas. Despite less calories requirement, the higher amount of the urban area has been affected because high prices of many essential products in urban areas. In the way or in the year 2011 to 2012, a family of the five members living in a rural areas and the earning less than about 4,080 per month will be below the poverty line. A similar family in the urban around would be a minimum of 5,000 per month to meet their basic need. The require sorry per month to meet their basic requirement. The poverty line is estimated periodically, normally every 5 years, by conducting sample surveys. These surveys are carried out the National Sample Survey Organization (NSSO). However, for the making comparison between the developing countries, many international organizations like the World Bank use the uniform standard for the poverty line. Minimum availability for the equivalent of the $1 $1.90 per person per day 2011 PPP. Poverty estimate, it is clearly table to 3.1 that there is a sustainable decline in the poverty ratios in India from 45% in 1993 to 37.2% in 2004 and 5. The population of the people below poverty line further came down about 22% in 2011 to 2012. It is the trend continued. People below poverty line may be down less than 20% in the next few years. Also, the percentage of the people living under poverty declined in the earlier two decades, 1973 to 1993. The number of the poor declined from that 407 million in 2004 2005 to 217 million in 2011 to 2012, with an average annual decline of 2.2% percentage point during 2004 to 2005 to 2011 to 2012. Vulnerable groups, the population of the people below the poverty line is also the not same all for the all social class and the economic categories in India. Social groups which are most vulnerable is to poverty are the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe household. Similarly, among the economic group are the most vulnerable group are the rural agriculture laborers household and the urban casual laborers household. So the sorry graph 3.1 so the percentage of the poor people for the uh, people in all these groups, although the average of the for the people below poverty line for all groups in India is at 22 30, 43 out of 100 people belonging is to scheduled tribe are not able to meet their basic needs. Similarly, 34% of the casual workers in urban areas are below poverty line. About 34% of casual workers in the rural areas, percent of the scheduled caste are also poor. The double the disadvantage of the being handless casual wages labor household in the socially advantage disadvantage social group of the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribe population highlight the seriousness of the problem. Some recent studies have showed that the accept of the scheduled tribe household, all of these three groups, i.e., scheduled caste, rural agriculture laborers, and the urban casual laborers household, has been seen in decline in poverty in 1990s. April. Apart from these social groups, these are also inequality in income within the family. In a pure family, but all suffer but some suffer more than the other. In some cases, women and elder people and the female infant are denied equal access to resources available to the family. A story of Siva Raman. Siva Raman live in a small village near the Karor town in the Tamil Nadu. Karor is famous for its handloom and the power loom fabric. There is 100 families in a village. Siva Raman is a Aryan Thariyar, a cobbler by the caste, now work as an agricultural laborer for the uh, 160 rupee per day, but that only for 6 to 5 months in a year, or at other times that he does a odd job in the town. His wife Shashikala to work with him, but she can nearly find work these days, and even she paid 100 rupees per day for the same work that she never do. Doers. There are eight members in the family. Sivaraman's 65-year-old widowed mother is ill and needed to help with her daily clothes. He has a 25-year-old unmarried sister and four children aged between 1 to 16. Three of them are girls. The youngest is son. None of the girls go to the school buying books and other things for the school going. Girls is a luxury cannot afford. Also, he has to get them married at some point of time, so he doesn't want to spend on their education now. His mother has lost interest in life and is just waiting to die someday. His sister and the elder daughter take care of household. See, Ravanan planned to send his son to the school when he come of age. He unmarried sister does not get along with his wife. Shashikala find her a burden, but Shiva Raman can't find a suitable groom due to the lack of money. Also, the family has difficulty in arranging 2 meals a day. Shiva Raman manages to buy milk once in a while, but for his son. Inter Interstate disparities. Poverty in India also has another aspect of the dimensions. The proportion of the poor people is not in the same every state. Also, the state level poverty has witnessed a secular decline from the level of early 70s. The success rate of the reducing poverty varies from the state to state. Recent estimate. So while all the India had count ratio SCR is was 21.9% in 2011. State like Madhya Pradesh, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Odisha has all India poverty level. As the graph 3.2 shows, the Bihar and Odisha continue to the two poorest state with a poverty ratio 33.7 and 32.6% respectively, along with the rural poverty. Urban poverty is also high in Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. In comparison, there has been significant decline in the poverty in Kerala, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, and West Bengal. States like Punjab and Haryana have traditionally succeeded in reducing poverty land with the help of a high agriculture growth rate. Kerala has focused on more on the human resources development in the West Bengal, and land reforms measures have a help in reducing poverty in Andhra Pradesh. Tamil Nadu public distribution of the food grains could have been responsible for the improvement. Global poverty scenario. The proportion of the people in the different countries living in extreme economic poverty defined by the World Bank as the living on the less than 1.90 degree sorry 1.90 dollar per day has fallen from the 36% in 1990s to the 10% in 2015. Although there has been a sustainable reduction in the global poverty, it is marked with a great regional differences. Poverty declined sustainability in China and the South Asian countries as a result of the rapid economic growth and the massive investment in the human resources development. Number of the poor in China has come down 88.3% in 1981 to 14.7% in 2008, 0.7% in 2015. In the countries of the South Asia, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, the uh, decline has rapid have been rapid 34% in 2005 and to 60.2% in 2013. With the decline in the percentage of the poor, the number of the poor has also declined significantly from the 510.4 million in 2005 to 274.5 million in 2013. Because of the different poverty line definition, poverty in India is also shown in the higher than the national estimate. In sub-Saharan African, poverty in fact declined from the 51% in 2005 to 41% of 2015. See graph 3.3. In Latin America, the ratio of the poverty has also declined from the 10% in 2005 to 4% in 2015. See graph 3.3. Poverty has been resurfaced in some of the former socialist countries like Russia, where the officially it is not non-existence earlier. The table 3.2 shows the proportion of the people living under the poverty in different countries as are defined by the international poverty line. The mean population below $1.90 a day. The new Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations UN progresses ending poverty of all types of by 2013 comparison. Sorry. Cause of the poverty. There were a number of the cause for the widespread poverty in India. One historic reason is the low level of the economic development under the British colonial administration. The policies of the colonial government ruined the traditional handicraft and discourages development of the industry like textile. The low rate of the growth persisted until the 19th 18th. This resulted in less jobs opportunities and the low growth rate of the income. This was accompanied by the high growth rate of the of population. The two combined to make the growth rate of per capita income very low. The failure of the both the fronts promotion of the economic growth and the population control perceptual. The cycle of the poverty with the spread of the irrigation and the green revolution. Many jobs opportunity were created in the agriculture sector with the but the effect were limited to the some part of the India. The industry is both in the public and the private sector, and it provides us some jobs, but these were not enough to absorb all the job seekers unable to find a proper job in the cities. Many people starting worker as a rickshaw pullers, vendors, construction workers, domestic servant, etc. With a irregular small income, these people could not afford expensive housing. They start living in the slums on the outskirts of the cities, and the population of the poverty largely a rural phenomenon also become a feature of the urban sectors. And the feature is the high poverty rates has been huge income inequality. One of the major reasons for this is the inequality distribution of the land and the other resources. Despite many policies, we have not been able to tackle the issue in the meaningful manner. Major policies initiative like the land reform, which aimed at redistribution of the assets in the rural areas, have not been implemented properly and effectively by the most of the static government. Since lack of the land resources has been one of the major cause of the poverty in India, proper implementation of the policies could not improve the life of the million of the rural poor. Many other socio-cultural and the economic factor also responsible for the poverty. In order to fulfill social obligation and the observe religious ceremonies, people in India, including the very poor, spend a lot of money. A small farmers need money to buy agricultural input like seed, fertilizers, pesticide, etc. Since poor people hardly have any savings, they borrow unable to repay. Because of the poverty, they become a victim of the indebtedness. So the high level of the indebtedness in the both causes the effect of poverty. Anti-poverty means the removal of the poverty has been one or the more objective of India development strategy. The current anti-poverty strategy of the government is based broadly in two planks. One, promotion of the economic growth target anti-poverty programs over a period of 13 years lasting up to the early 80s. There were the little per capita income growth and the not much reduction in the poverty. Official poverty estimate, which were about 45% in the early 1950s, remained the same even in early 1950s remained the same even in the early 18th. Since the 18th, India's economic growth has been one of the fastest in the world. The growth rate of the jumped the average about 3% in a year 1970s to about 6% during the 1980s and 1990s. The higher growth rate have been helped significantly in reduction of poverty. Therefore, it is the income becoming clear that there is a strong link between economic growth and poverty reduction. Economic growth widen opportunity and provide the resources needed to then invest in human development. And this is also encouraged people to send their children, including the girl child, the school in the hope of getting better economic returns from the investment in education. However, the poor may not be able to take direct advantage from the opportunities created by the economic growth. Moreover, the growth in the agriculture sector is much below exceptional. This has been a direct bearing on the poverty, as a large number of the poor people live in a villages and are dependent on the agriculture. In these circumstances, there is a clear need for targeted anti-poverty programs. Although there is so many schemes which are formulated to affect poverty directly or indirectly. Some of the items are worth mentioning. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005 aimed to provide 100 day of the wage employment of every household to ensure livelihood security in the rural areas. It also aims to sustainable development to address the cause of the drought, deforestation, and the soil erosion. One third of the proposed job has been reserved for the women. The scheme provided employment 220 crores person day of the employment to 4.78 crores household. The shares of the SC/STs women days in the scheme are 23%, 70% of the and 53% respectively, and the average wage of the increase from the 65 in 2006 to 2007 to 132 in 2013 to 2014. Recently, in March 2018, the wages rate of the unskilled manual worker has been revised state-wise. The range of the wage for the different states, the union territory, lies in between 281 per day for the worker in Haryana to 168 per day for the worker of Bihar and Jharkhand. Prime Minister Rozgar PMRY is another scheme which was started in 1993. The aim to progress is the created self-employment opportunity for education and employment youth in rural areas and small towns. They help in settling small businesses and industries. Rural Employment Generation Program (REGPR) was launched in 1995. The aim of the program is to the create self-employment opportunity in rural areas and small towns. A target of for creating 25 lakh new jobs has been set for the program under the 10th five-year plans. Swarnaj Yanti Gram Sarojgar Yojana (SGSY) was launched in 1999. The program aims to bring the assisted poor families above the poverty lines by the organizing them into self-help groups through the mix of a bank credit and the government subsidies under the Pradhan Mantri Gramoday Yojana (PMGY) launched in 2000. Additional central assistance is given to the state for basic services such as primary health and primary education, rural shelters, rural drinking water, and the rural electrification. Another improvement scheme in the Ayodhya Anna Yojana AAY about the you will be reading more is the next chapter. The result of these programs have been mixed. One of the major reasons for the less effectiveness in the lack of the proper implementation and the right targeting. Moreover, there has been a lot of the overlapping of a scheme. Despite good intention, the beneficial of these schemes are not fully reached of the deserving the poor. Therefore, the major emphasis in the recent year on the proper monitoring of the all poverty alleviation programs. The challenges ahead. The poverty has a certainly declined in India, but despite the programs, poverty reduction remains India's more compelling challenges. A wide disparity in poverty are visible between the rural and the urban areas among the different states. Certain social and economic groups are the more vulnerable to poor. Poverty reduction is expected to make better progress in the next 10 to 15 years. This would be possible mainly due to the higher education rates, higher economic growth, increasing stress on the universal free elementary education, declining population growth, increasing unemployment of the women and the economically weaker section of the society. The official definition of poverty, however, the capital only is limited for the over of part of what poverty really means to the people. It is about the minimum sustainable level of the living rather than the reasonable level of the living. Many scholars advocate we must be broaden the concept of the human poverty. A large number of the people may have been able to feed themselves, but they do have education or shelter or the health care or job security or self confidence are they free from the caste and the gender discrimination? Is the practice of the child labor still common wide experience? So that the with development, the definition of what constitutes the poverty also changes. Education of the eradication of the poverty, it always moving target. Hopefully we have be able to provide minimum necessary in term of only income of all people by the end of the next decade, but the target will be moved to further many bigger challenges that still remain: providing healthcare, education and job security for the all, and achieving gender equality and dignity for the poor. These will be even bigger task. And our chapter now is completed. I hope you guys understand the chapter. So our next chapter is chapter 4, second, because we just already complete chapter 4 in economics. So thank you.